Evening learners, in this video we will talk about the Women Reservation Bill. Like, see, this topic. Okay, multiple questions can be asked in your exam. First is that MCQs. From this topic, multiple types of MCQs can be asked in various exams, and also like you have subjective paper. The subjective paper, there are also questions can be asked either directly or indirectly from this topic. So before wasting any time, let us start the video. See, this bill, it was tabled recently, it was tabled in the Lok Sabha. And the special feature about this, rather I would say, the special fact about this bill is that this is the first bill. This is the first bill that was tabled in the new parliament. Like everybody knows that a new parliament has been constructed. So this is the first bill, this was the first bill that was tabled in the new parliament. So it is known as 128th Constitutional Amendment Bill. So when this bill, when it is passed, okay, and it becomes act, it would be it would be known as 106th Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so the Parliament has given it a new name. It is, or rather, a name. So what is the name? It is Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. Adhiniyam, it means bill. So this fact can also be asked in your exam, that what is the name given to this bill, and what was the number attached to this bill. So it is 128th bill. So we know that a bill in order to become an act, it has to be passed by both the houses of the parliament, and then it has to receive president's assent or president's approval. So as we know that we have, so see, most of the people, you might not be aware of the political situation in India, or rather the system of governance in India. We have three tier government in India. First is central government, state government, and third is Panchayati Raj, or PRIs, Panchayati Raj institution. So let me tell you that we already have reservation for women in Panchayati Raj institution. What are those provisions related to reservation of women? We'll delve into that part in the later part of the video. So here, in order to become a bill, it has to be passed by two houses. What are the two houses? At the central government, it is Lok Sabha, the lower house, and the second house is upper house, that is Raj Sabha. So it was introduced in Lok Sabha. This bill, 128th Constitutional Amendment Bill, it was introduced in Lok Sabha. And this was introduced by which ministry? It was introduced by Ministry of Women. No, it was not introduced by Ministry of Women. It was introduced by Arjun Ram Meghwal. Arjun Ram Meghwal. And he is Minister of Law. So this bill was introduced by Law Ministry. So this fact can also be a bit confusing if they are asked in exam. If the question is asked, surely most of the people, without having any second thought, they would mark this, that this bill was introduced by Ministry of Women Empowerment and Child Development. No, it was introduced by Law Ministry. So see, this fact is also important. I don't think that they might ask you this question, that this bill was passed by a special majority of 2/3 of the people present and voting, and it has to be approved by 50% of states. It's not that important. Okay. So now comes the question that why this reservation for women was required. There are multiple factors. Like, okay, most of you are aware of those factors. Let me give you some facts, and these facts these facts might separately be asked in your exams also. Like, see, gender gap. See, this report is released by World Economic Forum. So India ranks very poorly in gender gap report. So let us see what is the ranking of India. It is 127. See, India's neighbor, except Pakistan, all India's neighbors, they perform very well in gender gap. Means in empowering its gender. Okay, other India's neighbor perform better than India. So you might quote this factor also. Like, see these reports. Okay, these reports, you can quote these reports. You can use these as fodder point or as generic points in any sort of essays or essay writing, when you're asked about anything on any topic related to gender empowerment or socio-economic empowerment of women, you can quote these facts. One more important fact, this is quite important from examination point of view. What is this fact? See, 20, the 17th, the current Lok Sabha, 17 Lok Sabha, it had elected 78 women MPs were elected to this Lok Sabha. So why this number is important? Because this is the highest number of MPs, women MPs that were elected to any Lok Sabha. So got my point? So you might expect a question on this also, and you can also quote this these two figures like comparison. In the first Lok Sabha only 22 MPs are there, now only 78 are there. Even see the percentage is very less. So the need was there. After how many years, like even after 75 years, the percentage of women or representation of women in Lok Sabha has not increased. So the need was there to increase more number of women in the parliament. So let's also see the history of women reservation. So here I have mentioned these points, but this is very important. This 81st Constitution Amendment Bill is very important because this is the first time that a Women Reservation Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha. When was this? It was done during the time of Deve Gowda government. So what was the year? They might ask you the year, or you this what was the name of that bill? Was it the 81st Constitution Amendment Bill? But this year is important. And then again it was introduced in 1998. Then again it was introduced by UPA government in 2008. But most of the time it lapsed. And this time in 2023 it was introduced at 128 Constitution Amendment Bill. Now let us see various constitutional provisions which are related to reservation in our constitution. See, so Article 243, this gives reservation to women. What does this article say? That minimum 33% or 1/3 of representatives in panchayat should be women. Okay, it says minimum. It more than 20 states. I think it's 21 states. 21 states in the Panchayati Raj Acts, they have reservation for 50% of women reservation in panchayats. Then here also comes another article like Article 243. This gives reservation to women in the municipality. Same, minimum 1/3 of seats should be reserved for women in municipalities. Then there are also certain provisions related to reservation. See, these provisions, the provisions which are mentioned in part 16, these articles, these do not give reservation to women. These articles give reservation to scheduled caste and scheduled communities. What are those articles? Like Article 330 gives a reservation to SCs and STs in Lok Sabha. Why these articles are important? Because this new bill, it proposes to make make amendments in these articles by inserting certain new articles. What are those articles? We will see in the later part. This is 332. I beg your pardon. This is 332. Okay. This gives reservation to SCs and STs in legislative assemblies. Then Article 334, it says that the reservation will not continue for infinity. Reservation will only for a limited period of time. And earlier it was only for 10 years. Then after every 10 years it would increase. And the current provision is that the reservation for scheduled caste and scheduled caste would be for 80 years. Now let us come to the most important part, the provisions of this bill. As we have already seen that this bill proposes to give reservation to 1/3 women, like 33% of total seats will be reserved for women. For bodies of the government, this reservation will be applicable. It will be applicable for Lok Sabha, and this new article will be inserted, and this will be applicable for state legislative assemblies. And one more fact is there. Is it applicable for Raj Sabha? No, it won't be applicable for Raj Sabha, neither it will be applicable for Legislative Council. Then one more, this bill proposes to reserve seats, women seats for legislative assemblies of UTs. Like we have we have un, we have union government, then we have state governments, then we have also union territories. See how many union territories are there? I think it's 9 union territories. Yeah. So in what are the union territories that have their own legislative? It's Delhi here, NCT, National Capital Territory of Delhi. It has its own legislative assemblies. Then you have Puducherry, and then we have Jammu and Kashmir. By provision it has, but till now elections have not been held. So these 3 union territories, these have legislative assemblies of their own. But this reservation to women, like 33% seats to women, won't be reserved for these 2 legislative assemblies of these 2 union territories. It would be applicable only for union territory of NCT, National Capital Territory of Delhi. So got my point? And for this, Article 239AA will be amended. And this reservation will also be applicable for SCs and STs. And as we have already seen that Article 33, the 3334 says that the reservation would be for a period, for a particular period only. It won't be for the entirety. So here also the reservation would be only for a term of 15 years. And the seats would be available on a rotational basis. Rotational basis means that suppose 3 constituencies are there, ABC. For first time it would be this seat would be reserved, then in next election this seat would be reserved for women, and in most probably in the next election this seat would be reserved. So got my point? So let us talk about the merits and demerits of reservation of women. So the first merit is that it promotes gender equality. Gender equality is that if you see that the sex ratio, it's almost 900 something, 950 plus. I didn't remember the exact number. That means for one woman, for one man, there's almost one woman. When the ratio of men and women are equal, then why only 15%? Then why only nearly 15% legislators are women in the parliament? So surely in order to increase their representation, we need more women. Enhanced decision making, like see, if more women would come into parliament, okay, they would have their own perspective in making laws, and these laws, it is said that these laws, if the women participants, if the women legislators are there, the laws they would make would be more concerned about, they would be more concerned about women and child. Like it would also encourage women participation, and it would inspire future generation. Like if we have more number of women parliamentarians, so it would encourage the younger generation that, oh yeah, these more number of women parliamentarians are there. So it would give an encouragement to people, younger generation, that they should also contest election, and they won't have the feeling that, particularly the female, they won't have the feeling that the politics is only meant for men. Okay. An inclusive government would also be there. Then let us look at the demerits of this reservation for women. The first is constitutional concern. But what is this constitutional concern? Our constitution says that no one would be discriminated based on gender. So if a seat is reserved for women, so it can be considered a sort of discrimination, like if men can't participate from that constituency that is reserved for women, it can be considered a sort of discrimination based on gender. But technically, okay, this is not considered a discrimination, because constitution allows for affirmative action. Tokenism and quality concerns, like there are multiple issues. Simply will only giving reservation to women would solve the problem. There are multiple fields, like you can give, there are multiple certain fields that there also you can empower the women. And impact on political dynamics, this point means that suppose constituency X is there, here a male was represented, and this is constituency Y. So in this constituency, a male was elected, and he knows that in the next term this constituency would be reserved for women. So will this male candidate, or rather say male legislator, will he work? There are just chances for him working for the upliftment of people in his constituency will be can be very less, because he knows that in the next election he won't be elected, so he won't be provided any incentive to work for the betterment of the people of his constituency. Okay. Then underrepresentation of other marginalized group. Reservation is not the only thing that can be done to empowerment a section. Like see, now scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, they have got reservation, and then many OBC, they have got reservation. There would be other communities also, they also want reservation, because they think that they are not empowerment. So this reservation itself is not the only criteria, or sorry, it is not the only thing that could solve the problem. So based on the whatever facts we have studied today, okay, let us solve certain questions. And let me tell you that these questions, these are framed on the questions that were asked in RBI grade 1 exam. Sorry, grade B exam. The first question, the Constitution of India provides for not less than 1/3 reservation for women out of the total number of seats to be filled by direct election and number of offices of chairpersons of panchayat. Which article of the Constitution of India provides for reservation of seats for women in panchayat? So what is this article? I think this is the straightforward question. The article is Article 243D. And for municipalities, what is the article? It is Article, it is 243T. It is for municipalities. Let's come to the second question. In the pursuit of achieving gender equality and empowering women in the political sphere, the Women's Reservation Bill proposes to reserve 33% of seats to provide a platform for women to participate actively in the decision-making process of the country, ensuring their representation in the highest echelons of power. Consider the following legislative bodies. So 4 legislative bodies are given. So the question is, in which of the following legislative bodies does this bill propose to reserve seats for women? So we can solve this question by elimination. We've already seen that this reservation won't be applicable for Rajya Sabha and for Legislative Council. So we can just eliminate these two, like we can eliminate 2 and we can eliminate 4. So answer is 1 and 3. So answer is C for Calcutta. So this is the answer. The Women's Reservation Bill aims to reserve 33% of seats for women in the Lok Sabha, the lower house of parliament, and state legislative assemblies. The bill aims to increase the number of women members of parliament in Lok Sabha to 181 and women members of legislative assemblies to more than 2000. How many women members of parliament were elected to the 17th Lok Sabha? We already seen that. What was the number? We already looked at this fact. What is this number? It is 78. So the answer is C for Calcutta. So I told you, in the 17th Lok Sabha, the highest number of women MPs were ever elected to the Lok Sabha. And what was the number? 78 women MPs were elected to Lok Sabha. The answer is C for Calcutta. So thank you for watching the video. Have a nice day.